A lot of you might not realize this, but when you're watching my videos, you're in the presence of a gamer. Let's go! Come back!
That was only chapter 1. There's 3 chapters. Oh, shit. What have I done?
And the reason I play Warhammer at all is because of gaming. When I was a wee lad, a little lad in high school, I won a voucher for Zavi, and I bought a PC game that looked cool, that was £10, and it was the Dawn of War trilogy. Dawn of War, Winter Assault, and Dark Crusade. If you're a fan of Warhammer, you have heard of these games, and you know just how big of an impact they were back in 2005. That's 20 years ago, bro. That's 20 years ago. The point being is that Dawn of War got me into Warhammer back in the day, and I've been playing it ever since, and I've been collecting Blood Ravens ever since. Also, if you know me, you might notice something new. It's the merch I'm wearing. Haha, new t-shirt on the web store, hellstormwargaming.co.uk/shop. Woke Horus. This is my Istvan 3. That's what they'd say. Check it out, link in the description. Also, I'm a mullet guy now. Anyway, Dawn of War got me into Warhammer, and I've been painting Blood Ravens ever since. I have probably one of the largest Blood Ravens collections in the world, probably. No one's going to fight me on that, and if you do, I'll fight you straight back. 2,000 points, competitive, let's go. But they are a prime passion of mine and the sole reason that I play Warhammer still to this day. And I've been making content about Warhammer for like 8 years now, and I've never made a Blood Raven painting tutorial. And this isn't that video either. Well, it is a little bit, because I'm actually working with a company known as Colourforge, who are a UK-based that make model primers for your models, and I'm proud to announce that I'm working with them on their latest Kickstarter for my own spray paint, Reliquary Red, by Hellstormwargaming. You get it? It's Reliquary Red, because I stole it. However, it's super exciting to launch this paint with the Colourforge because one, it's going on Kickstarter, which means you can go out and buy this paint yourself if you want to paint Blood Ravens or anything that is also red. But also, it's thanks to you people who watch at home, who like my videos, who subscribe and do all of those things that make companies want to work with me so they can use my name to sell you things. So I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has ever supported me ever, because without people like you, I wouldn't be able to bring this to the market with the Colourforge. It's just... it's got my name on it. How cool is that? Now, if you have an airbrush, you probably don't care about color primers, and that's okay. I understand it. I also have an airbrush, but I'm really lazy, and I find it easy to rattle a can, shake it up, and start priming, rather than digging out the airbrush and having to use that again. So today I'm going to tell you how I paint Blood Ravens using rattle cans and just a paintbrush, rather than using an airbrush like I used to do in the past. But Reliquary Red is a deep red. It is not the same as like a Blood Angel red. It is a deeper red for Blood Ravens, or things like Word Bearers, okay? That's the sort of red we're going for. Reliquary Red is not really color matched to another red like most of the Colourforge line. It's very similar to a lot of popular red paints, but it's not a perfect color match, okay? But I have done a swatch, and I think the closest match is Vallejo's Game Air Gory Red, because I've tried different reds such as like Corn Red, but that's a little bit too bright. I've tried Burnt Red by Pro-Acryl. That's a bit more saturation compared to what I'd like. And then like Two Thin Coats and TT Combat. TT Combat's very dark, and Two Thin Coats is a bit too light. But Gory Red is like a perfect... I think it only looks different because of the finish rather than the actual paint. So that's what I use to clean up. But I'll be painting some Assault Intercessors with jump packs today because I've been using them in my armies and I'm really enjoying them. Now, it's a plastic primer. You don't need to prime anything underneath before you apply this paint. However, I like to prime them brown first. I actually use Colourforge Hyrax Brown initially, and then I use Reliquary Red as kind of like a heavy zenithal prime over the top to cover most of the model. So you just get like the brown in the recesses and in the deepest, darkest bits, which you'll miss, to give it like a nice gradient over the top. Now, again, you don't have to use brown first. You can go straight in with Reliquary Red, and it does look a little bit different, but I also like to go ever so slightly even lighter with Sanguine Red, which is closer to like Blood Angels Red as a color match, to give it like a zenithal highlight over like the head, the shoulders, and the top of the chest, just to give it that little bit of interest. But again, you don't have to do all of this. If you just want to go straight Reliquary Red primer, that's fine. If you want to go brown and just Reliquary Red, that's also fine. If you want to add this Sanguine Red, that's how I do it. And I'm going to be painting two of the Assault Intercessors, one with the Sanguine Red highlight and one without, so you can kind of like see the difference at the end. So the long laborious task now is taking the Blood Ravens that have been primed, and add in a deep recess shade of Caribou Crimson applied in every recess you can find on the model. This gives it like a nice warm shadow over that brown as well, if we've still kept a little bit of that. And it's just like, it really pops off and it makes the red look a lot brighter. It looks very flat without, but as soon as you start adding that recess shade, it really brings out all of the details. Then you can go in and paint all the other details how you like. I'm not going to tell you how to paint every single detail, but my one trick is I hate painting black, so I paint it Corvus black, dry brush it grey, and wash it black afterwards, and that looks sick. It looks like you've highlighted it, but you haven't. You've dry brushed it. Once you're ready to start highlighting the red, I usually like to do this after the details, so if I smudge with them, I can cover them up with a highlight. But I highlight all the edges of the red with Mephiston Red by GW. This is a super bright, saturated red, and it really pops off with the deep red that we've already got to give like a really nice highlight. And I highlight every single edge I can find. This is not the fastest way to paint. This is not a hack how to paint Blood Ravens in 30 seconds. This is how to paint Blood Ravens if you wanted to try and work for GW, probably. I don't know. I'm not that good, but it's that style, you know? It's all, every edge highlighted red, okay? You know what you do after that? You highlight most edges with red. With Evil Sun Scarlet, because this is even brighter. I do this on the more interesting red edges. The ones at the top, the ones that really catch your eye, like the weapon, the power fist needs some extra highlight of red. The collar around the head needs some extra highlighting of red. Anything that you just want to stand out, anything that's like trying to poke your eye out, like the shin pads or whatever, anything that's like really bright, really obvious, and really easy, Evil Sun Scarlet. Again, we're highlighting twice. This is not the fastest process. It took me like 2 weeks to paint these models. And that's basically how you paint the red. Prime it brown, Zenithal prime it Reliquary red, even lighter Zenithal prime it Sanguine red, wash it Caribou Crimson, highlight Mephiston Red, and highlight Evil Sun Scarlet, and then use Vallejo Gory Red to like cover any details that you've smudged, or just like if the highlight's too thick, just paint next to it just to like blend it in a little bit, and use that as like cover up. That's how I paint Blood Ravens red anyway. I know in the games they've always come across as a bit more orange, but I do think this is closer to what they should be rather than trying to make it to like a bright video game, because like this is how GW essentially used to paint them for the magazines and stuff like that, because I emailed them and asked in 2011. For the bone parts of the armor, I primed them using Colourforge Desert Sand, which is essentially like a color match to Xandri Dust. I actually build that back up to Morghast Bone, which is a much brighter, warmer color, and then I highlight it with Screaming Skull Scarlet after a recess shade of Agrax Earth Shade. So I just wash it brown in the recesses and highlight it almost white. It's a brown white essentially, and that's it. They're the two main colors of Blood Ravens. Everything else you can kind of freestyle and do whatever you like. I like to do lots of bright green bits because it really contrasts with the red nicely. I like to have the sergeants with bone helmets to say they're veterans because they're all Primaris, and I don't use Primaris heads because I also think they're cringe. I don't like them. I like the old ones. And then it's just kind of like freestyle, like having the knee pad black, which is obviously like a signature of the Blood Ravens. Having the eagle on the chest an iron color, so I use like 2 washes of black to get that like deeper silver. But then the sergeants have gold because they're sergeants. They're cool. They got more money. So all I said, it wasn't a Blood Ravens painting tutorial. That is how I paint Blood Raven armor, and that's how I've done it for my entire army pretty much as soon as this paint came out. I used to airbrush it. Having it in a rattle can form that is available on Kickstarter right now is so much easier. But just because I want this paint to paint my armies ever so slightly faster doesn't mean that's the exclusive use for it. You can actually paint Farsight Enclaves for Tau very quickly by spraying this Reliquary Red over black on the armor. You can dry brush it like an orangey flesh color and then wash it all over, and then use like a lighter red as like a gradient. So I used Caribou Crimson to wash the recesses, and then I used Baal Red contrast paint as a glaze over the top. Essentially, I just watered it down with water and then painted it over the surfaces really nicely, and that gives like a super deep but saturated red. And that was like super quick to paint Tau. I've actually never painted Tau before, and I think this one came out all right. But it's also really good for painting Tyranids if you're painting High Fleet box art from 4th edition, High Fleet Behemoth from 4th edition. But obviously they have his signature red skin, blue carapace armor. So by painting it Reliquary Red first, straight onto plastic, straight over grey, and then dry brushing it a light, I think I used Hellstorm Red by 2 thin coats, dry brushing this all over the skin, painting all the carapace blue with like contrast, and then doing like some little jaggedy highlights with lighter blues. I think it was Abyss Blue and then Witch Horror Blue. and then just wash the entire thing in Drakenhof Nightshade. It sounds weird, but washing red like armor or red skin or red paint or anything with blue looks really cool because you get like a purple shadow. So I washed the entire thing dark blue, and that adds depth to the carapace, but also the skin, and you get like really quick tyranids as well. And obviously, if you wanted to paint something like word bearers, as I mentioned, you can just paint them the same way I paint my blood ravens, but don't go as bright, just keep them dark. But they're just like a few ways you can use this new primer, but my primer isn't the only one that's going to be available. As I said, this is coming to Kickstarter, which is very exciting because this is one of 8 of a signature series with 8 of the leading UK content creators, and one of them boys is me. But 7 other wonderful content creators are also bringing out their own colour that are available on Kickstarter in partnership with the Colour Forge. Now, I know a lot of this probably feels like a bit of an advert. I do genuinely really like the Colour Forge because, one, I've worked with them for a long time because they supported me for the Hellstorm Super All-Stars, which is also happening on the 31st of August and the 1st of September, 120-man tournament. You should come to it. But all of the terrain there that's been painted has been painted using the Colour Forge primers because there's loads of it. The cans actually go super far because they're 500ml compared to like other big name companies. Looking at you, you know. Hopefully, if you're wanting this sort of color, then you can go grab one on Kickstarter. You can back it. It's out now as this video goes live. It's actually available to back now. And every single can you do buy, either for me or any other content creator, you're directly supporting us to do what we do. So if you enjoy this type of content, if you enjoy their content as well, not just mine, then buying a can of spray paint to paint your models is going to financially support us as well. So that's it. That's how I spent 15 minutes or however long this video is to sell you new spray paint because it's very cool and it's got my name on it. Honestly, I'm just super excited to see people start picking up this paint and seeing what they do with it, because I can show you whatever to do with it with Tyranids, Tau, or Space Marines. But ultimately, I'm excited to see what you guys do with it instead. So thanks for watching. Back the Kickstarter today, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. Before I say thank you to my members who made this video possible, thank you again. Love you all, and that's for them. That's not for you, unless you want to become a member. Catch you next time, or next time. Bye.